turned up. So it's been going.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's a fully packed weekend, if I have to say.
Yeah, I prefer it that way instead of like watching movies or doing some other stuff. It's better to like spend time doing something more productive.
Right, right. And pretty amazing to even see that you're spending so much time to share the knowledge that you have.
I mean, it's better than to not do that.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I hope that in this session also people get something to like take away from.
Oh,
Let's hope.
definitely. Definitely, they will definitely do that.
Yeah, let's hope. And it's really commendable that you are calling in external speakers to in your current role of students.
Mhm.
So people will also learn some new perspective about things.
That is the only reason, that we have you, because you being the founder of Teacup blog for sure, because the site where every design aspirant goes to. So why not? I thought let's just share it from the founder itself.
Oh man, you are the founder of NID, so yeah, I
It's a
think
pleasure.
yeah.
It's a pleasure to have you, sir.
No, I mean it's really pleasure to come here as well, and and let's hope that the students who are enrolled here get something to learn from.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to the webinar by organized by DesignX Studio, and I thank Prasanna Gadkari sir for accepting our invitation and talk about the different strategies to prepare for design entrance exams like Uceed, CEED, NID, and NIFT. Now, before we start uh, the webinar, before I hand it over to Prasanna Gadkari sir, I would like to give a brief introduction about us, about DesignX Studio. So, I am Sanjay Reddy, co-founder of DesignX Studio, and we are a group of design enthusiasts first, and then who turned out to be designers, and then we are still enthusiasts. So we like to promote design and talk about design, and even occupy ourselves with everything related to design. So we are DesignX Studio. You can check out our website. It's www.designxstudio.com. Our online courses are on this website, online.designxstudio.com, and on our Instagram. We have a lot of content that goes on Instagram. Please feel free to check that out. And we are myself, Sanjay Reddy, and I was ranked 14 in NID 2016, but I went abroad to study masters in design. And another co-founder and who is closely associated with DesignX Studio is Ashish Verma, and who also happened to receive a lot of knowledge and guidance from Prasanna Gadkari sir, who helped him prepare the entrance exam, and also Teacup blog, which he always mentions to all the students. And with that, he also secured an All India rank of 10 in C 2014, and he has also good experience in guiding students. So, with that being said, I would also like to state that we are not a coaching institute. We are a design studio. We do a lot of things at our studio. We take up UI UX design projects. We have different kinds of things happening here. And we also do get invited by schools to talk about design and creativity. We go and teach students, and then we also do creativity workshops. And one of the highlights from the last year was we did a creativity workshop for a professional school of karate, a professional karate school of America, and these are all karate players. So we had a really good session with them about creativity and how to think out of the box. And but we also have this passion to share our passion for design with the students and the design aspirants. So there are a few things that we offer to students exclusively. So what do we offer? We have online lectures every weekend, and we have recorded lectures which you can go through anytime, anywhere. You have study material from our end, and then you have workbooks and assignments. You have group discussions over on WhatsApp, which whatever doubts you may have, you can discuss it over here. And then you have mock test series, which we roll out exactly in the same pattern, the way you would see in the exam. And even the interface, you would have the same experience. And then we also do one-on-one studio portfolio and interview preparations for the students. And we have had amazing results. It's just been a year, and these are just a few to mention. We have students who've gone to IDC, NID, NIFT, any top college, you name it, our students are there. And last but not the least, we have just started off with the Detox, the design podcast, which was again featured by a creative director in Portugal uh, and listed alongside the Future and TED Talks, and listed in the top 9 amazing podcasts for creatives and entrepreneurs. So, which is something that is really motivating us, and we are really glad for the support. And that is pretty much about the DesignX Studio. And if you have any questions or queries, you can feel free to reach out to us. And now the time is to talk about Prasanna Gadkari, sir. I would like to welcome you again, sir, to this webinar, and thank you for accepting our invitation. And Prasanna Gadkari, sir, is the founder of Teacup blog, and when nobody was talking about design preparation, he was the one who came out and made that Teacup blog and documented everything that he was doing to prepare for the exam. And that sort of turned out into a platform where students successfully who have completed the design entrance process and have reached those premier institutions, they share their experiences there. So thank you so much. And currently, he is working as a UX designer at Amazon. So over to you, sir. Please, and students, something for you. There's a public chat here. There will be a time Q&A session where you can just type out the questions that you might have, and we will take up one by one, and Prasanna sir would answer your questions. Over to you, sir.
Hey, thanks a lot, Sanjay Reddy. And first of all, thanks to Red Team Studio for organizing this really awesome session. And and yeah, I mean, uh, this is like somewhere we can really share the knowledge or something. I would like to take this opportunity to briefly speak about the IITs and NIDs and the kind of career you will be doing after you complete your masters in there. And following that, I would just simply suggest you to populate your questions in the chat window, which you will see on your interface. Does that work well with you?
Yeah, I think that's perfect for us, and yeah, we can just do that.
Okay, sounds good to me. So let me begin by telling a very small intro about myself. So basically, I am a mechanical engineer. I did my mechanical engineering in year 2005, and following that, I worked for a few years in a company called Force Motor, which was called Bajaj Tempo back then. And then I joined Indian Institute of Science by appearing for CEED. Now, interestingly, I also appeared for GATE. My seed rank was much better compared to my GATE ranking. But that is where I learned all the techniques of product design. And following that, I worked for several mechanical companies, which includes Eaton Corporation and Larsen and Toubro. But in 2016, I decided to move into UI UX, and that is where I decided to create a portfolio of UX, and I then drifted from a couple of companies, and finally now I am working at Amazon as a user experience designer. So that being said, you might wonder that what is this entire thing to do with the discussion today. So I will tell you that without that design institute background, I think it would have been very difficult to just jump into the position which I am currently holding. The education of the design really plays a great role uh, in three ways. The first is that the design education actually broadens your horizon. Like it really puts that scientific mindset, if you if you call it that way, and it really exposes you to the methods that are used in a formal design. And when you actually use these methods in your day-to-day job, and I am still using many of these methods even now when I'm working for Amazon. That, for
Mhm.
example, the user research techniques, the kind of creativity techniques which were taught to me during my days in ISC. The second thing, it gives you a brand value. So basically, if you are a designer from IITs, NIDs, ISC, or for example, any other private institute, you will learn that actually it looks great on your resume, that it brings a kind of focus to your resume, and it formally recognizes you as a designer from a reputed institute. That is another thing. And the third important thing, it builds a kind of network around you. Like for example, my seniors from IISc actually still help me. So the alumni, now I am also an alumni, and I help my juniors many of the times. So that is the thing. And final, the last point in this small 5 minute session, which I wanted to take before I start answering the questions from the audience,
Mhm.
is that you, as a designer, would be doing really great things. But remember, design is not always about the money. And
Yeah.
I need to explicitly say that because design is a field of passion. So if you feel passionate about making people's life easy, you feel passionate about helping others, you feel good when you see that app which you have designed is being used by the people. It's a great, nice feeling that you'll get, and that is probably what I see design about. Having said that, I have been helping students to get into IITs, NIDs, to an extent, NIFT and other institutes abroad through my blog, Teacup blog, and mainly through one-on-one conversations. So basically, that is what I'm doing these days and have been doing for last 10 years. I have guided more than 400 students over these years. So
Wow,
if you
that's
have,
really amazing, sir. Like 400 lives that you've changed.
no man, it's just that uh, people gave me this opportunity. So I'm grateful for the people themselves. I am like happy that uh, that people thought that I am the person that they should approach to in order to like seek help from. So I'm really happy for that, and I'm really grateful for the people who have shared their experiences on Teacup blog, because that has helped other people to know that, one, what are the different experiences people are, and second, to like help know a source where you will not be misled or anything, because it comes straight from the horse's mouth, like right from the aspirants who have done this in the past. Well, so that's all about it. You can always ask the questions in the chat, and I will take up. For example, I see hello by
Yeah,
Shivangi. So hi,
Shivangi Bansal. Hi, Shivangi. You can just straight away type in the questions because this is really some opportunity that a lot of us don't have or don't know, but you have this opportunity, so feel free to ask whatever you want.
Yes, that's right. And don't hold back any questions. You can ask whatever you want.
Yeah.
Whether or not I can answer, that is another. But I'll try my best. Don't worry about that part. Rest assured, I will try my best to answer whatever questions you have. Oh, which is the best
Best
college for
college for product design. Okay, Harshal is asking this.
So Harshal, product design is offered in. Okay, I will just extend your question and say product design slash industrial design, without going into the nitty-gritties of the details of the
Yeah.
difference, because for industry both are same. So IIT Bombay, in my opinion, is the best college where you should
Hmm.
try to aim for your master study. That is immediately followed by NID and ISC Bangalore. You can, in no order between NID and ISC Bangalore. I don't see really in any order. I myself had got into IIT Bombay, but I chose not to go there because I myself felt that I have more research oriented mindset, and that's where I ended up in ISC. And over there, I never regretted going there. But if you just ask by the best college, IIT Bombay is what you should aim for. Uh, Arpita is asking, how can I manage exam preparation along with school study? I am a PCM student in 12th. Hey Arpita, so I guess you are asking for the BDES. So
Hmm.
let me just touch upon
Yeah.
that as well. Uh, so basically, what you if first thing you have to do is one, see the old papers that are available for the Uceed. That is the first thing that I'll suggest you. Then over there, Sanjay Reddy sir is also providing some great material. You can go through that as well, and by that you will get exposed to what kind of preparation you have to, what kind of questions are asked in the first place is the first thing you need to do. The second thing you need to do is every day, see, like I say that optimum time for studying is 3 months before the exam, and that's what work for many students. I recommend to you that. And for every day you can set aside 1 or 2 hours, whatever is convenient for you, and maybe 3 hours on weekends, and try to practice as much aptitude as you can is the best way to go about it. If that's like really short question, and please feel free to ask any follow-up questions that you might face. Coming to the next question by Tapish, once someone told me
Hmm.
that these design colleges do not look for mathematicians or artists. Uh,
Okay, that's a tough one there.
Well, I'll try to, like I promised in the beginning, I'll try to answer
Yeah.
this question. Hey Tapish, yeah, while they don't look for mathematicians or artists, I will tell you all these colleges work on something called as peer learning model, in which they will actually prefer someone who is different from rest of the faculty, because peer learning means that you will be learning a lot of stuff from the people those are in your batch. So whether you should have design skills primarily, then if you show your mathematical abilities or your artistic abilities, that's like cherry on the cake. And there are a lot of cakes out there, so cherries will be the first thing they'll notice.
Yeah.
Sorry for that really poor joke, but
नहीं.
yeah, I hope that answers your question. They are not looking for primarily mathematicians or artists, but they are looking for the people who are able to think out their ideas and express them on a sheet of paper. That's what they are primarily looking out for. And I think I should really be fast because questions are really
Yeah,
coming
they're
at
just
me.
pouring in. So I'll just read out the question. The next question is Rukmania. Uh, can you help us with what exactly the colleges like NID and IITs are looking for?
Sure. The answer is fairly simple. They are looking for someone who is able to think. So what I mean by that, when you are thrown a problem, like say example, you are asked to design, say a wheelchair for a person, then you should be able to at least think like what the wheelchair should have. It should have handles so that it should have some sort of motor so that the person will self-navigate. It should have some sort of steering mechanism, and sketch it on a piece of paper. That is what this institutes mainly look for. So your ability to think and ability to express it on a piece of paper is the very basic necessity. So what's the
Okay,
next
and
two?
then he says, okay, which one should I target for MDes, SEED, or NID? Okay.
Uh,
Harsh.
Harshal, I'll say that try for both, because you don't have to really study two different study materials. So in the beginning, you should simply focus all your energies on getting your exam, like preparation for CEED, right? Because CEED has all the necessary study material. It is well structured exam, and once your CEED preparation is almost on completion, you can as well appear for the NID, because you don't really have very different study materials for that. Maybe a better sketching, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And does that
Then
answer your question?
Shivangi is asking, I'm a student of textile design and want to do product design. How should I balance my portfolio?
Shivangi, there is no balancing, to be honest with you. When you apply for product design, they will only see your product design in your portfolio and not your textile design. So sorry to upset. There is no balance. There is no yin and yang there. There is probably what they are looking for is why they look for the portfolio in first place is because they really want to see whether you have the correct aptitude and whether you have the ability to think for that particular course. And having said that, when you're applying for product design, you have to have product design knowledge, product design sketches, product design, and actually prototypes will help you a great deal. So that is where you should be coming from. You should just focus on one and one thing, which is the branch you have applied for, and not deviate from that.
Right. Vishnu has a question saying that how would you advise to prepare for interview and DAT at ISC?
Hey Vishnu, that's a detailed question, I will say, because unless you like get a call from IISc. Normally people don't ask that. But well, to
Yeah.
answer your long question short, IISc Design Aptitude Test is the test conducted after your seed results are out and after you fill the form and after you get an invitation from IISc. ठीक है. So having said that, IISc is mainly more inclined towards asking engineering kind of questions. You don't have to really worry what kind of engineering, because there are 12 standard physics question, like max to max they will ask question like you are designing a stool and
Mm.
each leg of the and a person is sitting weighing 150 kilo, and what will be the weight seen by the each leg of the stool. That kind of questions they will ask. So they are more like applied engineering question, mechanics question, if you want to go by that. So those kind of questions they will ask, and up to 10 standard mechanics is good enough for you to prepare. But that's all you need to prepare. You don't have to really break your head over those. I hope
Right.
that answers.
Prajwal says, I'm a BDES final year student. What do you think should be the first priority for seed exam?
Good question, Prajwal. So, see, seed has two parts, part A, part B. If part A is not completed or if it is not cleared, then part B won't be checked. Now, of course, in the exam, you won't know whether you have cleared part A or not. But your first priority should be to clear the part A, for which you should study the aptitude. And by that, I mean that you should really study the aptitude and try to get at least half of the paper correct, because in most of the cases the score varies around 40 plus or minus 8, I will say. So you should get half or more than half of the paper correct. For that, your first priority would be to improve your aptitude to a good extent, so that any question that is thrown at you in the seed, you'll be able to clear it. The next priority probably is not asked here, but I'll tell you, will be the rapid sketching ability. So ability to sketch really fast will help you in the long run. Does that
Yes,
answer?
that is really important. Ability to sketch. Remember, guys. Ashna. Ashna. Hi, sir. Everyone doesn't get through the top three. In that case, how would you rate private and deemed universities? Which are the exams along with NID and Uceed that we can try? Okay.
Okay, that's a tricky one in the sense. Now, this is a question which is tricky one, I feel.
Yeah.
That is because, see, if you don't get NID or IIT or any of those institute, the best thing is to go for next year, is what I recommend, because the other private institutes don't hold that kind of leverage that you will have in your resume.
Mm.
Failing which, then once you have done this, and I can understand many people have constraints, like they are the sole breadwinners in their family, they cannot really afford the time for applying for next year's. In that case, you are free to choose any other private institute. Few of the names just to say is in Pune, Srishti Bangalore, and Triple ITDM Jabalpur, just to name. But there are like hundreds of others. But before you go, just check the syllabus and talk with alumni. So
Yeah.
that is the only tip I will give you on this, but I don't really recommend.
Okay. Ankita says, what is the best source for GK and awareness, like books, etc. for seed?
Ankita, honestly, there are no direct books except for the what Sanjay Reddy sir is creating for you, the material. But to be very honest with you, you don't require real books for that. So the best source of, so first of all, I recommend not to go too deep into the GK, because if you see, the GK comprises about 1/4 of the seed paper, and which is not like too much. And of course, this is just my opinion, and you can check it against the previous seed papers. But don't chase too much of GK, because it won't get you anywhere, and you will end up learning a lot, but it won't be useful in your clearing the exam. Answering to the another part of the section, that is awareness, is the only thing is probably aptitude. You will have to do lots and lots of aptitude, because you never know what seed will throw at you. So there are a couple of materials available on the on internet, but there are no direct books as such for doing that. Probably IQ and reasoning questions will really help you a great deal, if
Yeah.
that's what you're looking for.
Mansi Rawat. Hi, sir. How many projects should be put in a portfolio for applying for MDes retail design? Also, since we have already done our bachelor's, what do they expect next from us? So, considering that they have actually bachelor's in design.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that. So if you have already a BDES degree, then you are still be so like I told you the peer learning model in the beginning somewhere. So the peer learning model basically says something like, because you come from BDES, you will be compared with other BDES people who have applied for the same position. So having said that, you will not be really counted against the people who are say from engineering background and all. How many projects to put in your portfolio? I recommend normally 3 to 5 projects, but 5 is like a huge number. Again, coming coming to the point, how much? So basically, retail design is something that has to do with like points of sales and stuff like that. It's best to show the strategy also, just not the retail design. And but what is the thinking that goes behind? What is the advantage for the business and for the users?
Yeah,
So having yeah, Sanjay, you were saying
no, sorry. I was saying very important thing. Yeah,
very
please carry,
much.
please carry on.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and I'll tell you the best thing to do in retail design portfolio is to create small model like probably a scale model of the point of sales, probably like how the layout of the shop should be and so on. But having said that, there should be 1 or 2 prototypes, like 1 or 2 models, but rest all can be sketches and strategies. But that those are, and what they expect from you is the same thing that they expect from rest of the folks, that they are expecting you to have clear knowledge of what retail design is about, at least the basic level, and ability to think that what are the problems that you are solving and how your design will solve them. That's
Right. And Ashna has two questions. She says, how many hours of practice is required for drawing? First question. And then, how should I build a portfolio for product design? Should it be paper or digital?
okay, Ashna. So the first question first, that how many hours of practice? It depends on the person.
Yeah.
So to be very honest with you, when I started my seed preparation, I was so pathetic at sketching. Being from mechanical engineering background, you will expect me to be slightly better, but I was not. So I put about 16 hours a day of sketching for about 40 days, but that's just me, and
Wow.
without any job or anything, and like my parents holding a gun to my head, that was the only way to go. But how many hours of practice depends completely on you. So what you should do is you should make a sketch. You should design, not just sketch, doodle or something. You should design, you should take a problem and you should design a solution for that and get it reviewed from someone, that how good the solution is. And once you are coming to that, you find the solution is good enough, then you know how many hours of practice it will need to improve. It's a very personal thing, I feel.
Yeah.
Coming to a second question, which you had asked, how to build a portfolio for product design. There are 5 things that you should put in your portfolio. The first thing being that you should be able to, the most basic thing, you should be first putting up the problem that you are trying to solve. The second is like, what are the different existing things that are already solving that problem to more or less extent. Third thing, you should, what are the different concepts that you have explored in order to solve that problem. The fourth thing is that you should say that, okay, this is my final sketch, or this is my final product that I'm trying to do. And the fifth thing, that what advantage it will do for the users and for the business by using that particular product. And this you have to do for 3 or 4 different products, and you will be good with your product design. Whether it has to be digital or paper based, it's completely up to you. Paper based is fine, you don't have to really do CAD CAM modeling or anything. That is good.
Right. And Simran says, okay, which is the best college for animation?
Hands down, animation is, you know, answer for that, Sanjay. You're
Yeah.
laughing. So I will still go for IIT animation or NID.
Hmm.
I have some soft spot for IIT. That's about it. But I don't really distinguish between those two. But IIT and NID are the best. You
Yeah.
just have to go there.
Right. And Vishnu, again, I think this is the same question. How do you prepare for portfolio, like the ideas, prototyping, and others? I think we have already answered this question, but if you want to add something to this, please go ahead.
Yeah, I will just add one thing, that
Yeah.
don't separate ideas. So, like, if you take one single project, put ideas, prototypes, and your sketches for that one single problem. Don't like say that, hey, here are the few ideas that I have to improve lives of people, and here are few prototypes that will help you, and those two are not related. Better to marry the ideas, prototypes, sketches, concepts, everything in one single for one single product than for diversifying them. That's what I'll suggest you.
Prajwal, again, he says, what should be the most focused topic to cover for the exam, CEED and NID, apart from lateral thinking and sketching?
Well, you kind of covered those two, lateral thinking and
Yeah.
sketching. I will only say that another focus topic is mathematical abilities and ability to count. When I say ability to count, you'll say, "Hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, I know how to count, dude." It's not, it's probably
Yeah.
not that counting I'm talking about. So if you have gone through the CEED and NID papers, they will give you a complex figure, and they will ask you to count, say, number of triangles, number of squares, or whatever they have shown in that. So your ability to observe and count go hand in hand. So that is one of the best thing you can do. You can build your ability to count in a better way, if that kind of answers your question. So that's the ability that you should develop.
Right. Then we have Ashish asking you a question. So Ashish Verma, he said, "Hi sir, what impact will the prevailing COVID situation have on design education? Should aspirants be going for a master's or let's say a bachelor's this time at this time?"
Ashish, nice to hear from you after such a long time. Uh, so, Ashish, the impact of COVID, you should measure it two ways, is what I say. The first is that design will become ever more important because of all the work being done by designers now, and maybe even remotely because of the COVID impact. So the significance of the digital media has increased. Like, see, right now I will be talking on the stage with a mic in hand, but I'm sitting at my home nicely talking on this
Yeah.
platform. But see, that has changed. Like, somebody has to design this platform, right? So the importance of design will increase, and if the importance of design will increase, the number of designers will increase because that's the demand ratio. And if number of designers increase, there will be more competition for NID and IIT. So it's better to do your masters, and yes, you should do your masters, and you should aspire. Even if they are offering 10 seats, you should aspire for one of them. You should do
Yeah.
your job of doing that, is what I feel. Does that answer the question?
Harshal,
Yes.
Harshal, which one should I target for MDes at CEED or NID? I think this is again depends on what you want to do. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, one is that what you want to do, and second, for example, IIT does not offer branches like game design or retail. Yeah, retail also it doesn't offer.
Hmm.
Some of the branches are very specific to NID only, but if you are just preparing for the exams, I suggest go for both. Prepare for both CEED and NID. It will really improve your chances of getting into one of them and thereby making a design career.
Pragya, which kind of portfolio we need for communication design in CEED and also for interview?
Portfolio for communication design is fairly straightforward. I will say that don't draw blind sketches in the portfolio, which I have seen a number of times. Those are artistic sketches, and IITs or NIDs don't really appreciate just blind sketches. Instead of that, take up a design problem. For example, you can take up a problem which includes, say, spreading adult literacy in India. Then once you do that, I told you 5 point approach for product design. Same approach goes for the visual communication or communication design. You should first take up the design problem. You should see if there are existing solutions for that. You should generate your own concepts for that. Pick up the best concept that does the job, and then present that in whatever media you want. You can either go for digital or you can go for the paper and pencil one, but that is how you build. Like, do it 4 or 5 times and you will have a nice portfolio to speak in the interview about.
Right. Prajwal again, what are the foreign design exams that you would suggest apart from CEED and NID? Okay.
I think Sanjay Reddy sir is a better person to answer this. You want
Okay.
to?
Yeah, Prajwal, I would say you don't have any design entrance exams in abroad, like out of India. They usually look for your portfolio first thing, which has to be really strong. And I would say if you're applying for transportation, then it has to have at least 3 projects from transportation design, and then something that complements your or that talks about your personality. Let's say some sketches or some photography that you've done, or something other creative stuff that you've done. So that is very important. And then the next thing is your statement of purpose. So why are you going for a master's in design and in that particular college and that particular course? So you need to justify that in your SOP, and you have to be ready for an online interview. So they would definitely ask you for an online interview, which can go on for 30 minutes or and beyond. So they will probably they are looking for how good you are as a person, and because they've already seen your skills. So they want to understand you as a person. So keep these things in mind when you apply for colleges abroad. Okay. Okay. All right. Sagar says how to decide the discipline we should go for. So this is the most common question I think people ask for the second option. Like, what is the second option to be?
You want to answer that, or should I
Oh, please
answer?
go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay, Sanjay, thanks. So first of all, when you're preparing for this design entrance exam, don't think about the branch and all. So there are two things. The first thing I will say that if say you are like really good at sketching and you are like hell bent, you know for sure that you are the person who is like into communication design, then that is the branch. In that case, I don't think you will be asking this question in first place. But then comes the second approach where you have to decide which discipline. Uh, Again, there are two things which I can tell. The first thing is while you are preparing for the exam, don't think about the discipline because these exams are pretty general. So in the beginning itself, you just prepare for them, and while you are preparing, you realize that maybe you are good at animation, maybe you are good at sketching cars, or maybe products are something that you have great ideas on. So that time you'll learn where your inclination lies towards and where you should be heading. So it's a self-discovery process, I will say, but you have to first prepare for the exam. That's what I'll recommend to you.
Right. Jayashree Dhamija, sir, what are the good colleges for UX design, user experience design, outside India if not able to clear IIT or NID for masters?
Do you know, Sanjay, any good colleges outside India?
For user experience, I'll have to check because I don't want to give any information that is not true. I want to cross check. I do have a few colleges in mind right now, but I want to cross check. So, Jayashree Dhamija, please, we will get back to you. We have your name. We will note it down. I'll just make a note of it. So I'll get back to you with that answer. So we'll move on to the next question. It says, which one should I target for? I think this is already done.
Yeah.
Again, Ashish is saying, should only engineering or architecture background aspirants go for CEED? Can a commerce or BSc, BBA also apply for this course?
So Ashish, answer to your question, and I'm pretty sure you already know the answer to this, but I will tell you that SEED has certain eligibility criteria which requires you to which is basically 10 plus 2 plus 4. So basically, if you have the engineering or architecture student, you are eligible for SEED, and commerce is definitely not eligible for SEED at least. BSc, some courses are eligible depending on the course, that whether it is 10 plus 2 plus 4 course. BBA also I don't think is eligible, but you can just go to the SEED brochure and check your eligibility before applying. So you may or may not be eligible. Not all branches are eligible anyway. That I know for sure.
Hmm. Okay. Ashna again. I am a student of humanities in 11th grade, so trying for product design, is it okay? Or the panel may question me that without PCM, how come I am trying for product design?
So, Ashna, one quick reply to your question is actually UCEED. You will be eligible for UCEED, not for SEED.
Hmm.
And the admissions at IITs are just based on the UCEED score, and there are no interviews after that, as far as I know. Is that right, Sanjay?
Yeah. That's true.
That's so basically they won't ask you anything about your PCM or anything.
Yeah.
They will simply let you in.
Yeah, you just need to have a good rank in UCEED and then you're in straight away. But if you go for NID, it's a different story.
Yeah, probably. I think she's asking about NID.
Yeah. So even for the NID, like this year they had those interviews and everything, but usually they don't ask for samples of work that much for NID bachelors. But I think from this year they have started asking that. They have started giving out a few tasks to students. So it will be at a later stage that you will be selecting or going for that product design domain, and you would be building your portfolio based on that. So you wouldn't be asked in the interview stage or anywhere about that. And she's asking again, is there undergrad in UX, UI UX design? I don't think so.
Not
There is.
Not that I know of. Yeah, I mean, it's not specifically UI UX. I think interaction design is something that
Yeah,
they are offering.
yeah.
Uh, and yeah, if you do interaction design, see, for companies like in which in industry I'm saying, they don't differentiate between UI UX and interaction. For them, all is same. Can you do wireframes? Can you make apps? Can you make websites? Please join us.
Yeah, right. Then we have Shivangi, how to win over MSQs as they have negative marking and more than one correct answer in seed.
That's a good one, Shivangi.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people who have like lost their marks like crazy. And MSQ is basically multiple select questions for those who are wondering what MSQ means. So instead of like only one answer being correct, you will have multiple answers being correct. And having that other incorrect answers as correct, you will lose your marks. That is the caveat in that.
Hmm.
Unless you are 110% sure, do not answer the question. And I suggest that it's safe to not at all answer the questions in first place. But I don't recommend even to skip the entire MSQ part. If you are 110% sure, please do that. Otherwise, it's not worth losing the marks. So that's what I recommend. That's the strategy I recommend. There's no win over. There's either evading the MSQs if you ask me.
Right. Vishnu again, he says, sir, on retrospect, what advice would you give for your younger self for trying for seed?
Dude, I've been giving seed every year almost. So there's no like retrospective or even like younger self or anything. I this same old self me, I'm giving seed every year. And though I'm not eligible for any process after that, I do try to appear. So seed is getting tougher and tougher every year. So the only thing that will help you sustain through the seed are two things. One is that ability to sketch really fast, and that is the first and foremost thing I recommend to anyone who is going to attempt for seed. That is for part B. And for part A, train your aptitude muscles as hard as you can. Like try to solve as many aptitude questions as you can, because you never know what IIT is going to throw at you. So try to solve a variety of aptitude questions, not that they will appear in seed as they are, but because your aptitude will be so strong that whatever the IIT shows you, you will clear that. That's the entire objective.
Right. And then Ashish says, an aspirant is asking, can you please ask sir about how we can effectively divide the time during preparations for part A and part B at the same time?
That's an interesting question. There are two things you need to take care of. The first being that it depends on first that if you are really good at sketching, then you can reduce the amount of time you are taking for sketching skills. So, for example, when you are practicing at your home or in a class, you should focus like what is your weak point, and you should improve that ability. For example, suppose your idea generation is great, but your sketching ability is not that great, then maybe you should spend more time on ability to learn and ability to sketch faster. Oh, on the other hand, if you are the kind of person whose aptitude is really strong, then you can reduce the time you spend on learning it. So it depends on what kind of your strength and weaknesses are. Otherwise, you have to divide it half and half. So I normally go it this way, that if you have 1 week to study, you should simply focus on spending half of the week on this and other half on that, and
Yeah,
take 1 day off in the between just to balance it out.
right. And okay, next, Mansi, any tips for great SOP? Sometimes we fail to answer the simplest questions like why are we interested in that particular field of design? Okay.
I think Sanjay is better person to answer the SOP question.
Okay, so tips for SOP is it I think it is more important for you to be clear in your mind why you're doing that. Because design is something that you need to reason. You need to defend yourself. So that starts from the SOP itself. So the mindset that they're checking for is if you have that ability to defend, ability to answer, and have the clarity of thought why you're doing this. Do you have the direction? So uh, you need to sit down. The only way is to do is look into yourself and ask yourself, why are you going for design and not for arts, not for commerce, not for engineering or any other field? So you need to ask yourself that, and I'm sure you will have a really good answer. The only problem that I think is that you will or you would face sometimes is how you put that into words. So SOPs don't happen overnight; they happen over a few months. And trust me on that. And I have built my SOP. I think I spent close to 2.5 months building that. So you have to really, really spend time with your SOP. So it is not the last thing that you do before you go abroad. Keep that in mind.
True.
And again, for UI UX abroad, okay, he's giving a few institutions. Yes, Umia and Copenhagen. So which is part of the institutions that I had in mind. But yeah, we will anyway get back to you, Jayashree. And thank you, Ashish, for doing that. And Ojasvi says how to decide the topics and problem statements for rapid drawing practice. Hmm.
Okay, I will try to answer that question, and maybe Sanjay sir can also add to that. The first thing, that rapid drawing is not specifically about a specific topic. However, I'll tell you that, for example, take simple problems in your day-to-day life. Like suppose that what if you want to create a multifunctional water bottle, or look at the things around you. What about you want to create a telephone charging stand that serves another purpose, like say putting your keys on it. So now take this simple design problem in the mind and try to sketch the solution from your own thoughts. That is the best way to go about rapid sketching. And then once you do that, the first thing that I recommend you to do is draw a small concept sketch in the rough work section of your paper, or if you are practicing at home, on one corner of the paper. And then once you have that visualization complete in your mind, simply pick up your pencil or whatever medium you use, and then as fast as possible finish that sketch. Now, believe me, that first sketch won't come really good, but as you do
Yeah,
this over a period of time, you will be really good at it.
that's really true. That's really true. So, since Sar has talked about topics, I would and problem statements. Basically, I would add to it a little bit. I'll talk about general drawing practice here, rapid drawing practice. So, the important thing is to build up muscle memory, right? So, if you are not used to, your hand is not used to drawing those poses or those situations or those scenarios, those extreme perspectives, third 3 point perspective views, then how can you do that in the exam? You cannot. So you need to give yourself situations where, okay, you're standing at the bottom of this building. Okay, let's sketch this out, how it looks. You're in your balcony, you're looking out of the balcony, you're looking at people who are walking downstairs on the road. So let me just sketch that, you know. So you go to a railway station, you're waiting for somebody, carry your sketchbook, sketch that. So it is the simple situations in life, in your everyday day-to-day life, that you need to draw, so that will help you. And trust me, even in these exams, they don't give you some give you to sketch like what happens in space, whatever. No, they give you simple situations and all these scenarios. So this is what I would suggest. And then we go to another question by Jayashree. She says, what are they actually looking in problem solving questions? There are a lot of ideas that come in my mind, and eventually it creates confusion which one to sketch.
Okay, Jayashree, should I take that, Sanjay?
Yes,
Uh,
please. Yes, sir. Please
okay,
go ahead.
sure. Thanks, Sanjay. So the first thing that you should do is, if there are a lot of ideas that come to mind, that is a really great thing. First of all,
Hmm,
hats off to you,
hmm,
because even three, four ideas are good enough. One thing you should do is immediately start jotting down those ideas on the rough work sheet of your answer sheet.
hmm.
If you're practicing at home, just jot them down one after another, and then think about which idea fits the best to the situation in hand. So that is the best thing, so that there's no confusion or anything.
Yeah.
And while you have frozen on one idea, do not go back and try to change or pick up any other idea unless there's a extremely good reason to do so. Like you have misread the question in first place and you have generated a wrong idea. But
Hmm,
otherwise, stick to that idea, and even though better ideas come to your mind, keep creating the idea which you have frozen upon, because you really don't have enough time to like rework your ideas. So once you pick up ideas, stick to it.
Right. Again, another question by Tapish. How to develop the logical mindset that they expect for NID and Uceed? How should we approach the questions in these exams?
Okay, that's an interesting question again, because it talks about like a rigorous practice of your mindset. But honestly, no, you don't have to like create a mindset. Probably what you need to do is learn how to think in a stepwise manner rather than thinking in a haphazard way. So how to go stepwise? So the first thing, you read once the question that is given to you. Both probably you are talking about UCEED, so I will assume that it's undergrad you are
Yeah.
talking about. In that case, you read the question given to you or that appears on the screen, and try to think about what is asked from you. So is like, for example, if there is a complex object given to you, are they asking the surface area, are they asking the volume, are they asking the weight, or so on. So first ponder upon what is the thing they have asked. Then the next thing is to go about and solve it. So how to solve it is like, you have to break down that what you will have to do in order to answer this particular question, or how to find this particular quantity, or what would be the best approach to solve that in the first place. So this is the logical mindset I'm talking about, probably what you want to know. That step by step, go first, see what you are asked. Second, what is the best approach, or do you actually, what all you know from that, and what is the best strategy to find that. And then finally, what formula you will use, and what is the answer that fits the best. Sometimes there's another approach which is which works sometimes, but it's hit and miss, which is method of elimination. So if you know a ballpark idea that hey, the answer will lie between 10 and 20, then if anything that is beyond that should be just scratched away, and then you should work out which is the closer answer. So you don't have to work through all the steps. So those are the two approaches. I mean.
Right. Cool. So, Ashna, again, are there any hybrid degree program, psychology plus UI design?
Hmm. I would just say one thing and probably hand it over to Sanjay sir, that there are, so if you really see, all of the design programs are hybrid, because no matter where you go, you will have to understand whether you take product design, in which I have masters in, or whether you take UI UX, where you have to really go deep and understand what is the mental model of the user. So all of these require elements of psychology. So any design you say which is for the benefit of the user, and ultimately I believe all the designs in the benefit of the user,
Yep.
you have to, unless you're designing an engine or something, which anyway, let's not go there.
Yeah.
um, so so all of these design programs have elements of psychology. Is that what you also learned, Sanjay sir?
Yeah, sir, the same thing. I totally agree with you because, like you rightly said, that everything has to be made for the user. So if you don't understand the user in the first place, how can you design something for the user? So, uh, even though some universities might not have and add a subject explicitly and call it psychology, but the way they guide and they give you feedbacks, they also push you towards understanding the user a bit. So I would suggest, if you want to uh, like do this, then there are a few books that you can definitely read through. And if you're asking about UI design, then I think the Psychology of the Creative Eye by Rudolf Arnheim, which I highly recommend, which is really good. He takes examples from the paintings, from the historical paintings, and tries to explain how visually they are balanced, and talks about visual psychological forces and tensions. So you can just go through that. That is a really good resource that I think you would enjoy. Yeah. And another question, sir, can you suggest an exercise that an aspirant can practice on a daily basis? Prasanna, sir.
Okay, thank you, Sanjay sir. So, what you can do on daily basis. So, the first thing I would recommend that generate your own problem. Like, be like IIT prof. not really, but yeah, think about the different possibilities in your life that will enhance two things. The first thing, that it will help you to develop your ability to think from a user's perspective. Say, for example, do you when you wake up in the morning, you might think about, is there a device that will prevent you from say staying in bed for really long time? In that case, think about that, those kind of solutions, and then sketch them out. Sketching them out is very important, and this will build generation ability and also your ability to sketch really fast. I recommend to do this on daily basis. Also with visual design, like for example, you can think like, how can I create an icon out of this water bottle that I have on my table? So that is another example of visual design that you can abstraction. I'm saying you can do. So if you do these exercises over and over again, you will get really good at them, and you don't really need to have a feedback. Though having a feedback from someone senior will be really helpful. So that's
That
it.
is true. Shivangi, again, is it necessary to learn 3D drawing software to show projects in portfolio?
I think we answered this question earlier, but let me reiterate on the Chivangi that while creating a portfolio is because you want to show your ability to think. Now, after thinking and after coming up with the final sketch, it's up to you whether you want to express it in a simple sketch using pen and pencil, or do you want to actually create a complete 3D model out of it and show it in the portfolio, or do you feel that it's better to build it using whatever scrap material is around you? It's up to you. But however, is it strictly necessary? No, it's not. A simple pencil and paper sketch is good enough for you.
Right. So, guys, we have last two questions from. We'll close at 6 o'clock. How do we practice for studio tests? Mansi is asking. NID and CEED.
I think a part of that could be covered by Sanjay Reddy sir as well here. But I will be really I will give you only two tips. The first of all, do you really need to practice for the studio test? Yes and no. Yes, because the studio tests are slightly in depth for your particular branch, so you will have to read up about that particular branch and know nuances of what is that. For example, you have applied for interaction design. You should first of all know what interaction design is and what is the interaction loop that is frequently used in the industry. Second thing is no, I said no because honestly you already are good at sketching, so you don't have to look at the sketching aspect because you already had cleared the entrance exam and you are being called for studio test. How to prepare for them? Of entrance exam that you are appearing for example, NID, typically visual communication asks only for sketching. However, there are some branches like product design for which you will have to practice with three soft material. The soft materials include plasticine like the modeling clay, aluminum wire, and paper. Paper as in the cartridge paper or the construction paper which they give in on the spot. So those are the things you'll have to take care of.
Yeah, right. For studio tests, again, I agree with whatever Prasanna sir has said, and it depends again on the branch, like sir rightly mentioned. One thing I would really tell you about studio tests is that where mostly things don't work out is they get a little lazy after the first round. So that is one thing that what I have noticed in my experience is that you need to spend time working with materials a lot. Product design, industrial design, or even lifestyle accessory design, transportation design, and interaction design. You need to sketch and you need to have that practice. And for example, UI UX, they might give you a situation where they explain an event, let's say an accident, and they might even ask you to represent that in icons. So you should keep practicing for the studio tests, and it all depends on which branch you're going for. So before we go for the last question, I just wanted to ask you all of you guys. So we this session we did with Prasanna sir because I thought it would be really nice to hear from him, and I would really like to know if you how much you enjoy this, because if you really like it, then I would definitely, we would sit down and talk, and maybe we do it again, maybe once a month or something. That will be really yeah, if you like it, then we will definitely do that. So please put it down in the comments, or please feel free to write to us. And yeah. And Prajwal, okay, can you suggest any books that go best for the aptitude test preparation?
Okay. So I'll just answer this question in really brief.
Hmm.
I definitely know that you have some great material available with you for the students of this. Besides that, see, like there are a lot of materials out there, including quantitative aptitude by R.S. Agarwal, and you definitely have the IQ test, and there is a large amount of material available out there. The only question is that what you have to do is you actually have to use it. So no matter what aptitude material you use, you actually have to dedicatedly sit for 1 hour or 2 hours and solve it as fast as you can. So that is actually going to build you. It's like I always give the analogy of a gym.
Hmm.
There are weights kept in the gym, but unless you lift them and strain your muscles, your muscles are not going to grow.
It's very true.
Yeah, so that I say.
Right. And okay, all of everybody finds this very informative. Thank you so much. And Ashish said the God himself for design aspirants, the
No,
great
man,
session.
there are no gods of design. You can become the god if you want
All
by
right.
solving people's problems.
And definitely, guys, we loved doing this session for you, because we are, like I said, we are very passionate about teaching and sharing our passion. So feel free to reach out to us. Here are our channels where you can find us: website, online courses, or Instagram, where you can feel free to call us. And anyway, if you think we can help you with something, then please feel free to let us know. We'd be grateful, and we'd be really happy to help you. And once again, thank you so much, sir, for doing this. And I'm sure a lot of people have gained so much knowledge through this session, and they have a lot of doubts cleared now. Thank you so much for that.
Thanks a lot, Sanjay Reddy sir, for organizing this wonderful session and providing this platform for the aspirants of design. That's really appreciated.
Thank you so much. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next session like this. Okay,
Thanks a lot. See you then. Bye.
see you. Bye bye, guys.